Yeah,
All right.
we back we back at it.
I had to suppress record because he started talking and we were off camera and he was going in and I was like, you know what, let's just
Yo,
share this with
B,
everybody.
it's disheartening because women don't like being women and they
Oh, they're
don't
gonna
want,
roast the
and I don't
shit out of
care.
you.
Like
Yes.
women don't like being women and they don't like being feminine, and they talk about men all the time, but they ascribe to men's values, want to be want the men's values. Every standard a man has, they want to do the same thing. It's like sleeping around standing. It's like, well, women can sleep around too. Why can't we? Because you're a woman. That's like saying a woman can wear a wig and a man saying I can wear a wig
And
too.
y'all
And
men
it's
are
like,
out here wearing wigs and
who?
wearing
Who?
and
The
bags
vast
and
majority of men,
lipstick and doing
straight men are not.
well, there's a lot of, metrosexual men going around. They're wearing these tight pants and doing
Straight
all
straight
types of
men
stuff.
are not.
No, there's straight men who
Oh,
are
okay,
wearing
cool.
and getting
Men
their
that
eyebrows done and I think what we're seeing is, there is the there's a blurring of the gender lines. We know
men
that.
that y'all want to date aren't doing that. So I just put it that way.
I'll answer that. What you're seeing is not that women love being women. Most women love being women. I recognize there's a lot of advantages to being a woman. As much as, having your period and pap smears and mammograms and all the stuff that, we complain about, given all of that, I would never want to be a man. I love being a woman, even with everything that comes with it. I think what we're seeing is an evolution. People are evolving, and some of it is survival, and it stems from, the world is getting expensive. Women are becoming more educated. People are taking longer to get married, so people are single. So now, it's, back in the day, you leave your father's house and you go and you move into your husband's house. That's no longer a thing. So women have to learn how to take care of themselves
Right.
for survival.
When
And
they
then
have to learn to take care of themselves.
yes, women have had to, like, I mean, the woman from let's go back to the 60s. The women in their 60s may be one of the last generations of women who could count on, I'm going to get married after high school and then I'm going to have somebody take care of me.
True.
After that point, it started becoming, hey, we need to, whether it's college or secretarial school or some kind of a trade, we need to learn how to take care of ourselves because we may not be going from our father's house to our husband's house.
Right.
So women they had to take care of themselves. And when you start taking care of yourself, and taking care of yourself is part of a survival mode, and then what's happening is women have started taking care of themselves extremely well. It's beyond let's rent a room somewhere or let's just have, the bare minimum until we meet somebody. Women are now taking it and running with it, and again, like Ebony said, becoming more educated, making more money, and now have evolved to this place where it looks like we are taking on masculine traits. But all we're doing is fending for ourselves. And if fending for ourselves looks masculine, well, then that goes back to what y'all are defining masculinity as. It doesn't make me less feminine because women are still out here taking
No,
care
no,
of their
no.
children. They're still
I'm,
being nurturing. They're
I'm
still
not even
cooking and
saying.
cleaning, and they're still doing traditional women roles,
I'm not
and
saying that.
also working in the workplace and also making money.
I'm not even saying that you guys are masculine because I'm not. I'm not one of those
So
dudes.
you're
That be
saying
like,
we don't want to be
I'm
women?
not.
What do we want to be then?
I'm not one of those dudes that's like, oh, alpha women. Like, I don't believe in none of that shit. All I'm saying
But
is
if we
that
don't want to be women, who do we want to be?
you tell me. Like,
You said
women, like men get offended when you say, "Oh, you're acting feminine." Women get
Because of
happy.
what y'all
I'm not done.
attribute
I'm
to
not done.
femininity. Because
True.
you attribute it
Women
to
get happy.
emotional and
Women
to
get happy.
weakness.
Women get happy when you say they got masculine traits. Yep. I'm out. I'm out here doing. Yep. I'm out. I'm out here. And y'all should be getting offended.
There's a section of women who do,
Y'all
but
should be
I
getting
don't think
offended when men are saying that y'all have masculine traits.
I don't think highly evolved,
but
educated
they
women of a
don't.
certain age are excited to hear that they have masculine traits.
Okay.
I don't believe that.
All
Now,
right.
there might be a group of women, and they may not understand what femininity and masculinity is all about,
Mm-hmm.
and they might pump their chest to it. But it's kind of like the same chicks who back in the day might be like, "I'm proud to be a tomboy." You know what I'm saying? It's
Right.
not necessarily that they are saying that there's something wrong with being woman. It could just be I'm different. You know what I'm
And
saying?
if
People try to
and if
find
you
ways to stand out from the crowd, and being a tomboy used to be one of the ways to stand out from the
and
crowd.
if they're a true tomboy and you say that they were acting feminine, they would be offended. And yet, again,
But I think saying a woman is being acting feminine, or what did you say? What was the term you used? You didn't say feminine.
what?
you said a woman's acting like a woman or whatever phrase you use, because it's
To
the
less,
connotation of it.
less than a woman.
The connotation is you're being emotional. You can't, you're being weak. It's those kind of things. It's not the word feminine. It's when people say it to you, it sounds like you're trying to make me sound like I'm less than.
Iyanla gave a list. I wrote it down and I can't find it. I wish I could find it somewhere in this. Intuitive. What was the other thing she gave? Knowing.
Feeling.
Feeling. Nurturing. And women also have to protect and provide. They just do it in a different way. It's just like, it's something else I don't like about this conversation, that this conversation is so one-sided. It's what men aren't bringing to the table. It's what men aren't doing. It's what men. Okay, cool.
You don't think there's conversations where men are sitting here in the manosphere talking about
it
all the
is
things
now.
women don't bring to the table?
It is now, and like in the last 5 years, and that's
and
why.
It's like women can't cook no more.
And that's
women
why.
Don't this. Women don't do that. Women aren't freaks. Women. If you sleep with somebody too soon, then you're
right.
a whore.
You're absolutely
if you take too long, you're a prude. Like, I mean, it's like this balance that women always have to straddle, and it's like it's like you have to be a freaking unicorn.
No one asked a woman
Women are
what
not
she
asking
would.
men for a lot. Women ask for provision and protection.
No one asked a woman what she brought to the table until
Kevin Samuels
3, 4, 5 years ago. It's always been a conversation of what can a man do.
Because that's what men's roles have always been.
But
even in the wild,
women can't just show up.
Nobody's saying that a woman should just show up.
That's what you're saying.
I'm not saying a woman should just show up.
Okay.
I just said I said all the plus sizes of a woman taking care of herself and providing for herself and being educated and being accomplished. I just said that Ebony was accomplished, and you was like, that's a man trait. Her accomplishments don't even mean anything to y'all. A woman being educated, being ambitious, being well off, or having a lot of resources, that means shit to men. So now my femininity is wrapped in my looks and what's in between my legs, but then
I love it when you prove my point.
But then when people sit here and talk about, well, you can't just bring that to the table, you got to bring more to the table. So what else do you want then?
See, proving my point.
What's your point?
Because again, we talking about Ebony, what she brings to the table. You didn't say anything about any of the other stuff. Just her accomplishments.
I said she's beautiful. I said she's charismatic.
That's all I know
chick in that
video, it was not charismatic.
I've seen her in other things.
Okay, I got seeing something.
She's got personality. She's funny. All of that stuff.
Again, if she's all of that, why is she still single? And I say this all the time.
Why are all these men single? They said that there are more men on dating sites than there are women.
Because there's something wrong with them.
And there are more women in the world than there are men. If there are more men on dating sites, what does that say?
Because there's something wrong with them, and their expectation of a woman might be too high. Can you agree to that now to the women?
That their expectations might be too high? It seems like it must be.
No, I'm asking you. I'm asking you. Now you just tried to equate the two. I agree with you. Now you're backing out of it.
I'm not backing out of it, but I'm talking about the numbers. So if there are more women in the world than men, and there are more men on dating sites, that sounds like the men who have more options are being more picky.
Men are just hooking up on dating sites. A lot of men are using dating sites to just hook up. And back to the whole manosphere thing. Manosphere has a name because it just came out. Like there's no name for a train of thought for women because they didn't have to worry about it before. Now,
well, we are we didn't, but we are because men are changing.
Because the world is changing, and men are seeing that how men interact with women aren't the same. So
what's the solution then? I mean, clearly we can go down a list of problems.
I give a great solution. I mean, I personally think people should offset date, especially when it comes to income. I think when it comes to income, people should offset date. Like if she makes $3 million, there's nothing wrong with her dating and marrying somebody that makes $100,000, $150,000. Like I don't see anything wrong with that because that's how it was when men made money. That's how it was when people make money. It's not even a gender thing. It's just an economic thing. Like, let's take the gender
Can
out
I
of
say
it.
something about that?
You can say whatever.
But back in the day, though, when you, and I'm thinking about like the Mad Men era, right? Because, I love that show. And so if you think about the 50s and the 60s and where the man worked and he brought home his check and he took care of the entire household. But there was a balance. The woman took care of the household, right? So, I mean, he financially took care of it, but she nurtured the household. So she raised the kids. She cooked, she cleaned, she planned events, she made the house a home, she probably planned their vacations. She did all of that. So that was the balance. So what he was getting out of it is this dude could get up, go to work, deal with all the stresses of going to work. But when he came home, the house was clean. There was food on the table. His dry cleaning was in the closet. The gift for his mom was wrapped and sitting there with his name on the tag. The kids' Christmas gifts were all packaged and everything. He don't even know what's in the boxes. He don't care, whatever. That was her contribution, and his contribution was the money. So now we move into 2020 or whatever time period, and it's like, again, if a woman is working, the man is working, and you're like, oh well, she's making more money, so she's supposed to, because women are still doing these things, especially if there's children involved. So she's still nurturing her children,
and she should be because she's a mother.
And the man is not. So if he's and parents should nurture.
Yeah, and then he should too because he's a father.
But if he is working full time and she's working full time, right? So this is a different setup than it was in the 60s, because when in the 60s she was taking care of everything at home, but this woman is out working and he's out working, so nobody's home during the day. There's no hot meal waiting for anybody. Her laundry is not done. The house is not clean necessarily. It's not.
So
all.
we split
But let me finish.
duties.
So all of that's not happening. So she's still
duties.
coming home to a household that still needs to be maintained, and she has to do that. So she's splitting duties, but she's also paying for vacations and paying for stuff and paying most of the bills and doing all this stuff. So do you not see how that doesn't seem fair? That's not the same model. That's not the same model from the 60s. In the 60s, she did her part, he did his part. But now if we fast forward where he's working and she's working, but because she's making more money, she's got to pay for the majority of everything and still work, and he's working. And so when I come home, I'm not getting slippers at the door like the husband used to get in the 60s.
Basically, what you're saying is that whoever makes less money should do more housework.
I mean, I'm not opposed to it.
Even though both of us work 8 hours outside the house.
I mean,
regardless of what we do, both of us are out of the house 8 to 10 hours. Both of us get home at 7:30. Somehow, the person who makes less money should do more housework.
I think that you need to balance things out.
And balance are that we share chores.
And the balance is that we recognize we have to balance this out. And that means the person who, if you don't make the money, you don't make the money. There's not much you can do for that. But then you have to find a way to level this out. Because it's not fair to somebody. Because again, we're also talking about
it's not fair to who?
It's not fair to the person who, because again, if you are going out, you're making $250,000 a year. And I'm not talking about people who are on YouTube doing 3 videos a day, and no shade to any of those folks. But people who are making that kind of money, making $250,000 or more, they're working extremely hard. They're probably traveling for their work. They're taking work home with them. They're not working a traditional just 9 to 5 where they come home and they get to just put their feet up and it's over. They are working harder because this world is not...
And the bus driver and the CEO...
Well, the bus driver gets to come home. When the bus driver gets home, his shift is over.
No, but he starts to work overtime to make $100 and some thousand.
But he's not, we just said. But if he's not working overtime, he's just making his $60,000, $70,000, $80,000 a year, right? Because he doesn't need to work overtime because she got the money. So what's he working overtime for?
How strong are you? Because it takes a hell of a lot of strength to move a goalpost. Now, are we talking? Let me finish my thought. Hours outside of the house, or are we talking about how much money a person makes?
Let me finish my thought.
I heard exactly what you said.
I didn't finish. You couldn't have heard all of that. So what I'm saying is, if we're talking about and we're comparing a bus driver to a CEO, right? Mm-hmm. The bus driver, and again, no shade. My father is a retired bus driver, and I know he worked extremely hard. You go, you do your shift. When you get home, you're home. You're not driving a bus on your couch. You're not working again until it's time for your next shift. The CEO is not off. This person, man, woman, whomever, is still on emails, still doing reports, still checking in. They might be traveling for work. They're doing early morning meetings. They're doing meetings while they're in their car, traveling to meetings. The cycle don't end. So this person is going. So now the person who came home, now you say you both got home at 6:00. Mm-hmm. You don't think that there's a difference in the workload of the person who's making 80,000, the person making 250.
That's a different conversation. And so
my
now,
thing is,
if you're
and
talking
again,
about,
if I was
if you're
on the
hold
other
on,
end,
hold
but
on,
let me
hold on,
finish.
hold on, hold on, hold on a
I
second.
wasn't finished.
All right.
So if I'm on the other end of that spectrum, I'm the person making $70,000, $80,000 a year, and my husband is making 250, whatever, and I know what his life looks like and his schedule. I'm gonna come home and I am going to step up the household stuff because I'm gonna do what I can do to make your life more comfortable and fill in the gaps that you can't fill in.
Now, that's a different conversation. That's not what you said before.
No, that
before,
is.
hold on.
But you can't. What I can't
before
do
you
is
said,
just sit down and go and put on Jeopardy
before
and
you
just
said,
chill at 7
before you
o'clock
said,
and knowing this person is doing all this other stuff and then just be like, yeah, well, I'm working too, and like,
before you said solely because the person makes more money. Now, if she has to come home and do reports, or she's a doctor and she has to do reports, or the CEO, she has to check in and finish emails. Of course, I'm gonna get the kids ready for bed.
But you said it has to be 50-50 when we get home.
Because we were talking about everybody works a 8-hour day.
But it's not an 8-hour day.
Okay, like I
it might
said,
be 8 hours in the office,
okay.
but it's not an 8-hour day.
Okay, cool. So now, that's a totally different conversation. If the person's still working and busy, that's a different conversation. Not solely because the person makes more money, the other person should be doing.
But making more money is a byproduct of making more money. It does require more of your time.
Okay, so if it does, then the other person should pick up the slack.
Yeah.
Physically around the house.
Yeah,
yes.
but that's a lot of that. Well, at least what I'm hearing is, well, we y'all equal, we equal. So I'm gonna do 50, you do 50, and and so now this person is doing more. They're doing half the household chores, and they're also working extra hours, and they're also financing extra stuff. You don't see how that's not fair.
You do what needs to be done. When it comes to a relationship and marriage, you do 100 and 100. It's not 50-50. You're not putting in half, keeping half for yourself. You're not putting in the half effort, keeping that. You put in the 100, and it falls where it falls.
Yeah, I hear you. It just.
It sounds like you don't hear me.
No, I do hear you.
It sounds like you're fighting the feeling.
I'm not fighting the feeling. I'm just trying to be equitable.
No. You're not trying to be equitable. You're trying to be equal.
Okay, you're right. I'm trying to be equal.
Right.
So equitable is different.
You should be being equitable. That's what you should be doing.
But I'm speaking to fairness here because you can't burn somebody out. And when you start burning somebody starts feeling like they're burnt out, that's when you start having problems. And if you don't want problems in a relationship, you have to get ahead of that. You can't wait until somebody feels like they're being taken advantage of, or they're putting in more than they're receiving. They're making more deposits than they are withdrawals. When a person starts feeling like that, it's going to play itself out in the relationship. Whether it's infidelity, whether it's alienation, whatever it is, and if you don't want that, you got to get ahead of it. You don't wait until the problem has already existed. And I think what we're realizing is when you hear a woman like, "I tried this and it didn't work," or you hear a man say, "I tried this and it didn't work," is because
you did it for the wrong person.
Feeling appreciated is one of the worst feelings in a relationship.
100%, absolutely.
And it plays out in a lot of different ways, but I think when people are out here busting their tail and working hard and doing the most and grinding, as everybody says, and you feel like it feels like you owe something to them or they're entitled to something, that's what burns people.
Who says that the other person is not working hard? Who says that person is not grinding? I'm not saying that
they're not, but if it gives the impression that this person is, living off the fat of the land, then that's where resentment starts and people start to get angry, and that's when relationships start to fall apart.
If you feel that way, you feel that way. Then we have to prove it. So if we can sit down and talk about it and it actually pans out that way, then someone has to make
it's going to be hard to prove because nobody's going to admit to be, I'm skating here.
And then that's somebody that you shouldn't be with. That's somebody that you should be able to have honest conversations with people.
You should.
In a relationship.
You should. And sometimes sometimes you can't have that honest conversation because people can't be honest with themselves. And then that's when you have a dissolution of a relationship. Now that's done. And now the person like Ebony may say, "I tried this. This is what happened. I'm not doing that again. I'm learning from my mistakes."
Like I was saying before, the bad boy has been up and running more than 20 years now. If Puff works if Puff don't go to work, if he sits at home, answers a couple emails, he's done by 12 o'clock in the afternoon, and his wife is running around, and just because he makes more money, he's like, "I'm not changing no campus. I'm not taking nobody to camp. You pick them up. I'm the breadwinner."
There are tons of men who have been doing that for years.
Who's been doing it for years.
And pass a kid off to their wife like, this is your job.
Who's been doing it for years, and that's an old trope. When I go out, when I pick up kids from schools, there's a lot of fathers there. When I go to basketball games, there's tons of fathers there. When I'm in the supermarkets, these men got their kids. That's such an old
They do,
trope,
and it's a great
and so that woman is carrying 100% of the household load while they're still I'm not talking about single mother, nothing like that. While they're still in the marital home, that does not happen
That's
for the most part anymore. All of the men I know that
Listen.
have children that lives in this, they carry a lot of the load with their kids, taking
And
them to
that's
sports,
admirable.
going.
And maybe
It's
you
not
have
admirable.
no, it is admirable.
It's a part of the.
No, it's
it's part of
admirable
the
because if
requisite.
it's not happening often and it is happening in those situations, it is admirable. Those men do deserve their flowers for doing something. If the majority of men aren't doing it and they're doing it, they deserve their flowers.
Okay, if you want to
So
say that,
what
that's
I'm
fine.
saying is, I hear you, and you might have a really good group of friends, and you might be.
I don't. I got some friends that's well.
But
Except
I'm
for-
just saying, as
him too.
I know a lot of women, just like you know a lot of men, and what I'm hearing from women is that they are out and they're working and they're doing, and you would take the salary off the table, still feeling like they're coming home and they're doing more. They're still the ones remembering that it's Purple T-shirt Thursday for their kids, and they're the ones remembering that this kid got an allergy to this, and that their child's going to a birthday party on Saturday, and they got to bring such and such gift, and they're the ones remembering doctor's appointments and Mother's Day and this and that, and they're doing all of that and still maintaining a 9 to 5, a theoretical 9 to 5, and husbands are feeling like they can go to work and come home, and when they come home, they're off, and
That's
women
not
are not off.
I
believe a
that
lot of
doesn't
women.
happen. That's not happening today.
That's
Like,
not true. Well, a lot of people still feel
But-
like
but-
it's
but
not
this-
true.
it's
A lot
not-
of women still feel. I've seen it. A lot of women still feel like they are doing the most.
And I give it to you. They can feel that way because
It
because
can't be true?
because
It can't be
it
true?
can't be true. And
How
I'm
can it
not
not
saying
be
it can't. I'm
true?
not saying it can't be true because there are men who pay and help out in the house, and as soon as the man says, "I do more than you," she don't go, "Yeah, you're right, babe. Like you do cook a lot, and you like clean a lot, and you do pick up the kids, and you pay the majority of the bill." She don't say that. It's always she wants to feel like she's doing the most because it's like a badge of honor if she's not. But if you point out that she's not, she has an attitude.
Well, I mean, we're talking about
The same thing.
This is a straw man thing here. We don't know who.
No,
these
I'm
people
talking
are.
about real people. I'm
But,
talking
I
about
mean,
people
you
like
can't speak for everybody. Though.
I'm not
You know
speaking
what
for
I'm saying?
everybody.
No, you are. You're saying woman, and you're speaking collectively. We don't. I mean, I can't. I believe, based on my experience, the women I know and I've heard and I've spoken to, that's been their experience.
And that's a straw
I
man,
can't
too.
speak for all women, and just like you can't speak for all men.
Yeah, so
men.
I'm speaking the same straw man that you are. Like if I'm gonna give you the right to make up a straw man, you have to give me one too.
All right. Well, this has been a good conversation.
Has it really?
I'm good. I don't know.
It's because you're drinking.
I'm straight. I thought this was a good conversation. I'd be interested in knowing what folks think, and I'm sure there are people who will be hearing what he's saying and hearing what I'm saying. But weigh in the comments and let us know what you think about this. Whether it's the Ebony Williams interview, if you haven't seen it, check it out. I'll see if I can drop the link in there.
Or if it's the women don't like being women, like you can drop that down in the
That's
link too.
horrific.
Women hate the traits of women.
That is absolutely not true.
Stuff like that.
I will not let that.
And,
No, it sounds like men don't want to be men. That's what it sounds like.
I still
Yeah.
I haven't heard that yet.
They want the highlights of being men. They want to be able to pump their chest. They want to
know.
be able be able to sling in some D everywhere and be masculine, and when it fits them. But then when it comes to doing the things that their fathers did and their grandfathers did, well, now we're equal. Go figure.
But back when women couldn't work. Okay, cool, got you. Makes sense.
Have a good night, y'all.